Well, you look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
Feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbonites off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, told me get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy. The carbonite is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride. I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo. I'm hiding solo. I'm hiding solo. I'm hiding solo. Solo. Picking up my blaster, putting it on my side. I'm jumping in my Falcon. Whoopie at my side. I'm solo. I'm hiding solo. I'm hiding solo. I'm hiding solo. Solo.
Okay, I can see you have some skills, but now it's my turn.
All right, happy Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
Now, I won't get overly upset if we don't have many viewers because of the hour and a half of Bad Batch tonight.
Understandable.
Just that's my excuse for this week. But everyone's trying to catch up on Bad Batch. So, how's your week been? Ken, kick it off.
It's been good, actually. I for a Wednesday, I'm happy with what I've done already this week, and it started. I count my week starting on Saturday. I don't know. I'm an odd bird that way.
Isn't that the Australian? Isn't that how the Australian calendars? Don't they start on Saturday?
I'm not sure. It's a possibility. I mean, they're bass backwards and a lot of other things. So.
I bought a Star Wars calendar to take to work, and it came from Australia. It was a really cool Mando one, and I forget, but it started on a weird day because I would write stuff in my calendar, and when you glance at it, oh crap, that's today, because it was always like
slightly askew.
Shifted over. So
yeah, see, I was lucky this past weekend. I got to go to the Free Library of Philadelphia, and there was an interview with none other than Billy D. Williams.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I did over the.
All right, we got to hear about that. We're gonna have a Billy D. sightings segment here later in the show. John,
how about you, John?
How's your week? We can't hear you though.
Oh, he lost his voice.
We still can't hear you.
He's going to do semaphore.
He's going to get the flags. Well, I should keep my mouth shut, but I haven't had technical difficulties in a long time.
Maybe now.
Now we hear you. Now we hear you.
Oh, it's been a week, but glad the Bad Batch is finally back. That's obviously the most exciting thing that happened this week.
Well, that's good.
How about with you, Mike?
So far, it was a good week. I mean, if I start my week on Saturday, it didn't really do anything. But since Sunday, we had the I trooped, so we'll talk a little troop time and got a little costume work in and watched a Bad Batch. So I can't really, it's a good week. Had Star Wars Club today. I give away a vintage, one of the vintage collection Mando and a vintage collection Boba Fett. I did trivia questions for my class. The top scoring two got the prizes this week. So
and then we watched the questions.
Let's see. The one was so I'm trying to think. My Boba Fett one was like what was the first appearance of Boba Fett? Almost all of them missed that. None of them picked the holiday special.
Now you're talking first televised appearance or first appearance in public?
I know that was the next question. When was the painted? No, where was the painted version of Boba Fett reveal. I forget but when was the first public? Where was the first public appearance of the fully painted Boba Fett armor?
Is that the California parade
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in
So I
Santa
did,
Salem?
and then so my other Boba Fett questions were, what was besides money? What was the one thing Jango Fett wanted in payment? And it was unaltered
Cookies.
clone. Some of my students said a son, so I counted that.
Okay.
And then who was the question before that, which if it was a poorly written question, because if they would have been good test takers, they would have got the answer anyway. The question before that was, who did Boba Fett consider his father? And it was all, multiple choice. And then I did 5 multiple choices, and then I give them 2 questions. They had to write the answers down. And honestly, I forget. Wait a minute. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can access my school on this without screwing up our thing. But I forget. I had 2 written questions for Boba Fett, and I forget. I don't know. Oh yeah, I know. What are the braids hanging from his shoulders? Wookiee scalps. Someone put they put youngling or no, Padawan braids.
Padawan braids.
I was like, man, that's even more morbid than Wookiee,
Well, not necessarily, because you could just clip it. You don't necessarily have to take the whole scalp.
I guess, but that was one of the questions. And then I did every week I do a trivia question and they can win something. Last week, just because of things, I didn't get to get them a prize. So they answered Mando questions, and they were like, who give Mando his jobs? What kind of money did he try to pay him in Imperial credits? And then the questions that were the bonus question. Whoops, sorry. The bonus questions were what was the animal that Mandalorians are known to ride, and then what was the animal they wound up riding on the planet? Because a lot of my students had never seen Mandalorian, so
okay.
I got the box set. So we finished episode 1. We watched half of episode 1 last week, and we finished episode 1 today. So
Now, did you get the Blu-ray version of it or the 4K version of it?
I got the Blu-ray because the only reason I get the 4K, well, I guess I just got the metal box of season 1. Is that Blu-ray or
Well, they're all they made all of them steel boxes.
what's
And the weird
what's
thing
the
for
price difference?
I don't think there is a price difference,
So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know which one I got.
because what some of them will do, and I'm kind of kicking myself as I look back on it now. So I bought the 4K one,
Yeah.
but I can only play the 4K one on certain machines. Like, I couldn't just take it to a friend's house and play it, because not everybody has a 4K machine.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't really. I'm pretty sure I just got the Blu-ray because
Yeah.
we have the crappiest Blu-ray players. Like, I think they're just barely Blu-ray at school. Like,
They're Blu-ray.
yeah. They're but it's nice because again, I have students that have never seen it, so and it was good. It was kind of nice to watch and then the kids actually enjoyed the art at the end, which I was surprised. I thought they were going to be, and they really liked that. So I got to think of a gift to get them for next week. So they wanted to watch The Bad Batch, and I was like, look, I can't. I tried streaming one time using a hotspot in my phone and all that kind of mess and an iPad, and I was like, no. So yeah, so John, it looks like John's having Wookiee trouble. So as soon as he gets his Wookiees in order, he'll be back. But yeah, it was a good week. So
Yeah, I forgot about the Blu-rays until you mentioned it. And normally what happens is they have the regular DVD, then they have the DVD and Blu-ray, then they have the DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K, and that one has a different price point typically.
yeah, well, I see the cynic in me thinks, because I'm like, why did they even release that? Like, that seems odd to me. And the cynic in me says that during the strike that was a concession that the actors give. Wow, we don't need we don't need physical media residuals anymore. And then, that's the cynic in me. But I also think that fans were kind of complaining that they wanted to have physical stuff in their collection. So as a as a company, you're almost dumb to leave that money on the table. You know.
Yeah, but to your point with the contracts and stuff like that, the considering Mandalorian started off as a streaming thing, was that a part of their contracts at all? And was that something that they, yeah, to your, yeah, I don't understand the finances of movie and television and stuff, and so I'm just
Well,
reaching out into the stars to
because what
figure it out.
happened to a lot of those people is 10 years ago they had rights to DVD and this and that releases, and then everything went to streaming. And so it's almost like it's kind of to me it's kind of neat. Like it's neat when you read that like more LPs were sold this year than the last X amount of years. Like it is neat to see how what's old is new again, kind of, you know.
And what I'd be interested with that kind of stuff is who's buying them.
Yeah.
Like, is it the hipsters buying them, or is it old fools like us who are saying, "Oh, I remember the good old days when things were on vinyl, and so I'm trying to relive the past."
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're making what's nice about the DVD. I didn't think the price was ridiculous for a season. Like it was under $40, which I didn't think was that didn't seem ridiculous to me in today's thing. And it came in a nice little box, and it just was,
Did you get the cards
yeah, it had little cards in it, and
and the
yeah.
behind the scenes stuff? That was,
I
I
didn't
love
watch
that
it.
stuff.
I didn't watch that yet because I left it. I put it at my desk at school because I don't want to forget it on Wednesdays. Nothing like having like 15 middle school kids that are expecting to see The Mandalorian, and I forgot the
Well,
DVD.
Zoe says you can download it to your iPad and then watch it that way.
I tried that. It doesn't work.
Mm.
I downloaded it to my iPad. I took it to school, and if your iPad, like, so I thought, well, look, I'll put it on airplane mode because if I wanted to watch it on an airplane, it didn't work. Like, I don't know if you have to have some, so I had to then piggyback it and hotspot it to my phone, which was a nightmare. And as soon as that happened, I was like, as soon as I get home, I'm just going to order this set because that was not because if we were doing it, we're patient, but like even like a 30-second blip to the kids nowadays, that's like an eternity, so, I was surprised. Like the first prize I give out was Pez dispensers. I had Mando and Grogu Pez dispensers, and the kid that won them was super happy. And then the kids that won today they were really surprised. They were very happy with the retro figures. And the two different kids, the one kid I've known all his brothers and sisters, and they're a very practical family. He opened it up and he was messing around. The other kid I don't know that well. There was a collector in that kid because he took it and he looked at it like this, and then he had a hoodie. He wrapped it in his hoodie and slid it in his bag. You know what I mean? So he's one of us. So, but
That's pretty funny.
yeah, that was it was fun. It was fun. And then what's nice is
Oh,
He decided he's
there
sick
we
of
go.
us too.
Sorry, I was fixing the volume thing, and it was right over top the same thing that shut my window down. No, but Josh, who is going to start Wrecker, is he does Minecraft Club, and I let him use the back of my room because I have a big room, so he gets to watch Mando with us as well.
nice.
And
I think that's
so,
by design. I think he's.
oh yeah. No, we had a I haven't had a Star Wars person to talk to at work forever, and so if we get together, I'm not really getting much schoolwork done, so I have to pace myself. So
How did 5 hours go by and we're still in?
well, no,
in
it's like
season one of.
we have we have planning and all that stuff, and then you're like supposed to be doing work, and it just gets started. So yeah, so that's our weekly recap. So before we start, because we always forget this, let's tell everyone where we can find us, just in case they're the people that just tune out in the first 20 minutes. So John, tell us where people can find you and what you're doing.
You can find me anywhere you find podcasts at The Beskar Bucket, The Beskar Bucket Podcast on Instagram, and at John Scalise on TikTok. Currently working on a few different projects that are all in the works at once.
Wow.
That sounds ominously cool.
Yep. That's right. You'll get to see one later when we get to Costume Corner.
Oh, I can't wait. Now,
A
see,
preview?
A sneak preview.
sneak
Nice.
preview. Okay, Ken, where can people find you?
So when I'm not here on the Inflatable Falcon, you can look me up on The Rambling Star Wars Fan. I'm on Instagram with that. You can also look me up on your podcatcher, The Rambling Star Wars Fan, with that as well. And just if you're interested in me, the guy, it's Ken Bishop.
Is there a difference between you, the guy, and do you have a persona as a podcast host?
Well, I don't necessarily have a persona, but I've been told that I've got a gravitas.
Well, yeah, but I
About
think you
myself.
have gravitas in you know.
Yeah, see, I don't know about that. I've come to so have you ever heard of people describe themselves as socially awkward? Have you ever or describe other people as socially awkward?
Yes.
Well, I've decided to come up with a new way of describing myself, and I'm socially unusual.
Oh, okay.
So I guess so I guess I do have a different persona, and that's just odd, I guess you could
Well,
say.
Ken, I feel like when you're over at my house, I need to have like better silverware and better things. Like I feel like you like if I ever go to sell my house, you're going to be visiting when the realtor comes because I think you uplift my value and station in
See, I don't,
life.
see, I feel the exact opposite. I feel bad for you when I come by because be like, you're
No,
letting him in?
no, did you see those pictures I posted up a couple days ago of myself as a kid, where I look like I think Matt even commented that I was from like the 1920s or something like that. Like that was my house. Like that wasn't like Depression era Missouri. That was
It was a different Depression era.
I mean, our heat came from a 50-gallon drum sitting in the backyard hooked to a pipe, you know. So no, when you're over, it just makes me feel like more important, and so you uplift me. So
Oh,
you have that gravitas and that NPR esque-ness. Well, because when I met you, you were doing some intricate detail for the back of your helmet. For your guard, like you were showing me
for
this, and I was
Kennex.
like, I'm just like a 8-color crayon kind of guy. Like I'm just like slapping paint on stuff, and you're making this intricate detail on the back of your helmet. That's amazing.
Well,
You
it was
know?
a tension, but I don't know if it's uplifting or not. But I appreciate the kind words, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
And please keep me on the list for more invitations to the Hinton household.
yeah, I gotta figure all that out this summer. Do something. I'd like to do something. You know.
Something dark side.
Well, no, we have that beautiful campground near us. Like I was like, oh, what could we do? Like, because like if I could get Marty and some people, there's woods that have like an Endor-esque type feel, and we could do like a camping, photo shooting, armor partying, something. Just take it to because there's like canoeing and kayaking there, and just make a something out of it. I don't know. We'll see.
I definitely think that our small medley of folks needs a gathering like that. I think.
I do too. Well, yeah, and we'll talk about that in troop time. But there is. I was saying to the guys that I met, I said I feel some of us are still getting out of COVID. Like I don't want to be one of those people that just blames COVID for everything for the next 50 years, but it did kind of derail a lot of stuff. And
Oh
and
yeah, and in ways that we don't necessarily fully comprehend yet.
right. And for people like me that's older, it doesn't seem as big of a deal than to people that are younger. Like if you knock 2 years out of a 20-year-old's life is way different than you knock 2 years, and it does kind of put you in a place where you don't know what to do. And so, I think we're slowly getting back. Like the sixth graders I have this year are the first kids I've had since COVID that feel like sixth graders pre-COVID.
Okay.
Just the overall vibe of the kids.
Yeah.
So. I don't know, but that's my COVID speech for the day. We've add that into our mix.
Speaking of you, where can our listeners find you when you're not on the Inflatable Falcon?
Well, first they should check my daughter's podcast out, Star Wars Geek Girl, and check out StarWarsGeekGirl.com. She does tons of writing. And then you can find me, Mike Hinton, on Facebook, and Hinton's Star Wars Family on Instagram and TikTok. And look, we got a chat. We got a bunch of chats that I missed. Here you go.
Couple of them are from-
She's giving me. Oh, wait a minute. Is that from today?
Well, one of them. Well, all of them are from today. There's one from Josh and a handful from Zoe,
Yeah.
talking about what would make good prizes, and
Yeah.
and Josh is putting
Yeah, well,
something.
then I mustn't have preloaded it. She said I preloaded on an iPad, but I did something wrong then, or the iPad was just a piece of junk. But it did not work in my building, so I don't know. But yes, and Josh will be a Huckleberry, and it's not Huckleberry. Wait a minute, it's not Huckleberry though.
No, it's Huckleberry. That was the
No.
code. That was the code name for the Mando show when they were filming it.
Oh yeah. I was thinking of from Tombstone, and it was not Huckleberry though. He kept saying Huckleberry, but the real word was the word for the handle on a casket in the Wild West.
Really, I didn't
Yeah,
know that specific thing had a name.
Yeah, it was it was a slang term for that. I don't know. Yeah, I was watching. So I was watching Mando today. It was episode 1, and that Pinto armor. I'm still loving I know John's a Beskar guy, but the Pinto armor. I'm just when he was walking. Maybe it was episode 2 when he's walking in the desert with the little pod following him, and he's just in that Pinto armor. I'm like, yeah, I love.
See,
that.
I like the first episode when he was walking across the ice.
Yeah. Well, I think at Celebration Chicago they showed us walking the desert, but digitally they didn't have the pod there.
Oh, they don't want to give it away.
Yeah. Well, you know what's weird? I have a picture from Air and Scare. It was like a month before Mando Mando appeared, before we knew anything about it. I have a picture of a child dressed as Yoda holding his hand up, and all the Mando mercs are standing behind him.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was like, what? I was like a premonition, I'll have to dig that picture out. But yeah, that was I don't know, that Pinto armor. I was like, oh, I gotta get back.
Now, when you do your Pinto armor, I don't know if I've ever asked this question on the show or not. Are you gonna do the version with the Shore Trooper shoulder, or are you gonna do the version where he got the Beskar shoulder?
That's a good question. I never
Because if we're gonna do Pintos, what we could do is you choose one, I choose the other, so we can still be Pinto pals.
Is the
but we
only
won't-
thing different the shoulder bell?
Well, I thought there was some more. Wasn't there some like more
More
damage to the chest plate?
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. Because I went. So well, here, let's go to Costume Corner, because let's jump into Costume Corner, because I have a lot of Costume Corner. John has Costume Corner. Let me put the overlay. We have 5 people. Hopefully they have questions about costuming, and then you have to remind us about the questions that
Our listener Todd gave us.
Listener Todd. Here, let me. Where's my? I can't get my ticker tape working. I need a. We have way too many. I have to start deleting some of these. Costume Corner. I'm just going to type another one, because we can't use the workbench, because I think that's what the dad batch uses now. I think we used it before then, but we can't use it now because there we go. Costume Corner. John, do you want to start?
I'll start with Pinto Din.
Okay, Pinto it away.
So the Beskar shoulder bell is an optional accessory. It does not change the CRL.
Optional accessory. So then, wait a minute. So if we were at an event together and I show up, like when 2 people dress the same and they're all embarrassed, you could just go, hang on. Now I'm a different guy.
Yeah.
If I ever show up, if I get my Mando done and I show up with another Mando, I'm going to say, look, I'm Brendan Wayne. You can be
Lateef Crowder.
Yeah, Lateef. We're 2 different people.
And then we need a third one to play Pedro.
Pedro, yeah. And then, like 3 years from now, there's going to be some other guy that just wore it for one shot. Like the guy from.
Well, there is another guy. I thought it was season 3. There was another guy.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. So,
And
Anyhow,
not even Pedro. It was another stunt performer. I thought.
so there we go. So for costume corner, we don't have to worry about that. That's good. What else? What else? So John, should we go last? You want to go last since you have the big announcement?
Yeah, I'll go last. Save
Okay.
the best for last.
Well, I'll go first because I didn't do too much. I worked on, so I went to Marty's house Monday and helped work on Wookiee skulls. He's getting back into making Wookiee skulls. So if you need a good Wookiee, oh yeah, there we go. Zoe knows. It was because when Brendan was out with an injury and she forgot.
I told you. I knew. I thought.
Well, Zoe, find that name and see if we can get him on your show. That's your homework. That's what Dad's going to tell you. No.
So is he like the bootleg Brendan? Is that what?
Yeah. He's Brandon Wayne with a Y. No, so I helped Marty do Wookiee skulls, which is really cool because I had redone his mold for him over the summer, and then he called me. It's like, hey, do you have all my stuff? I was like, yeah, it's in my garage. So I took it over to him, and he makes the head molds out of it's a expandable foam, so it's somewhat soft, and then he puts bearings in the chin, and the chin works off of your own chin, and then he puts the muzzle and all that. So I helped him just make the skulls, and he makes two different, like one super soft and one a little more rigid for whatever people like. So that was a fun morning. I worked on I have my first paint coat on Wrecker. I did a flat black just so I can see any other print lines that I missed, and I'll fill them in individually. And then I think that's I did some mods and stuff, which we'll talk about the question at the end. I did a little bit of work on my TK because, like every really good cosplayer, you don't work on anything until 5 minutes before you're packing it up to go somewhere. So that was my costume corner. Other than I keep thinking now I have to, if Josh is doing Wrecker, I have to decide which one of the Bad Batch I'm going to do. So
I was literally just telling my dad today that once I get some of these costumes done, I should really do Hunter.
Yeah, you'd be a good hunter. Oh, there we go. Kevin likes our
bootleg Brendan.
Well, what's nice about the Mandalorian though? I think I recognize Brendan Wayne's swagger. But overall, you don't really notice the difference, really. I mean, like if you're watching, I'm sure the Mando Merc guys that do that costume, they could tell you, but you actually have to concentrate on like who's doing what.
Yeah, the average viewer is not going to notice the difference between the three.
Yeah,
but us hyper nerds are going to overanalyze every single frame till we recognize who's who.
But I would also probably say they probably built more of his movements around Brendan than anyone.
Yeah, well, because he's in the costume the most.
Yeah.
Well, I think the variety of costumes would really come into what they're doing on screen.
Right.
So Brendan's the slinger. I mean, he's the swagger. He's the showcase silhouette kind of actor.
Yep.
And Lateef is the one who's doing the jumping, kicking, punching, falling down kind of thing. Not that Brendan doesn't do some of that, but that's Lateef's bread and butter thing. So those costumes, I think, based on what little knowledge I have of behind the scenes, they're going to have a different makeup because they're going to need to be able to perform differently. Just like when they make the blasters or even the lightsaber hilts, they have 4 or 5 different versions of them. They have the hero one, they have the one that you can insert the blade, they have the one that's rubber, they have the one that's that can be broken or whatever. So those are the things that where you pause, like, oh, it looks like his hip plate is rubber. That must be Lateef because he's got to be able to be thrown around a bit.
Yes, Zoe just give me a quote, and you can hear that whole interview on Star Wars Geek Girl. We're like plugs. I've been a bad father. I haven't been plugging my kids' show enough. So
I'm gonna vote you off.
Okay, Ken, your Costume corner.
So mine is a lot lighter than yours, literally and figuratively. So I finally pulled the trigger and purchased my soft parts for the Pinto din, and I'm still trying to decide whether I want to do the Shore Trooper shoulder bell or if I want to do the
Both.
Beskar shoulder bell.
Both. I say both.
Yeah, I mean, considering that they're both attached the same way,
Yeah.
I don't think it would hurt to do both and have them. To your point, have them available in my kit box.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
because like when you go to lunch, you could say, "Hey, I got to go see the Armorer kids."
Yeah.
And
Come back
you
and
go
look
back. There you go.
And I know you had mentioned earlier um, the Mandalorian DVDs. I recently found out that this the little
Yeah.
charges that he wears on his belt.
Yeah.
Do you know what the inspiration for this piece of equipment was?
No.
It was a caster that goes on the base of a chair, like an office chair.
Ah,
They were just looking at bits and pieces around the workshop, and they found a caster, and they used that as the form
nice.
for the making of these charges. So it's a fantastic example of being able to look at anything and turn it into something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you let someone else do all the aesthetic work, and then you just use it for something different.
Yeah.
Cool. When's your soft goods going to be here?
It'll probably be here early March.
Nice.
I ordered it from Cosplay Sky,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
think I
that's
ordered like 4 sizes too big.
yeah. Like I said, you got to go big on those. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think they measure them flat. I think they think everyone's flat Stanley. You know. For
Yeah. I'm flat Stanley minus the first L.
Yeah, I've busted a half dozen seams in that flight suit, but it's mostly in the shoulders. They do not like if you are not straight down the middle. I mean, you got no
Yeah.
shoulder movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I ended up ordering like a 2XL or whatever.
Yeah.
So
All right, Johnny.
All right,
Tell us what you got.
finally have put forth the motion to do a ground up costume. So we're not live on TikTok, are we? I have to ask.
We are not.
Okay.
Why?
So I'll start with these.
Oh yes. Wait a minute.
So I got
Right.
two DC-17s printed so far.
are you doing a Lego costume?
Then
There
I've
you
got
go.
a new realistic Phase 2 Rex helmet started.
From give him a plug where you got it.
Galactic Armory. Use code Scalise at checkout for 10% off.
There you go.
That's an actual affiliate code that I forgot
Yes.
I had for the longest time. But yeah, I ordered.
Wait a minute, can you show me the top and sides of that again? I just want to see. Now turn it. Let me see the brim. Like turn it down.
Oh,
So
magnet.
it has alignment holes in it. That's why I like Galactic Armory stuff.
They're for magnets.
Yeah, that's
Which I
what
got
I'm
one
saying.
stock.
Like they're.
Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is the person here in Ohio that's helping me out. Clones do normally one of two things. They'll either do a solid helmet or they'll have the back come off and have that be magnetic.
Yeah.
What he does, he's got his face shell, like the front of the helmet is magnetic. So
Yeah.
he just pops the front of the helmet off. So I think that's what I'm going to do with that, just to make it easier. If I need to, breathe for 30 seconds, just pop the face shell off and,
Well, and I've also seen guys that do that where they attach it with elastic.
Mhm.
So, like, if you get bumped, the whole face doesn't fall off or the whole back doesn't fall off. It just dangles and you just snap it back up.
Right.
So, because that's how I've mainly seen guys do it with the back. Like, it hangs on elastic strapping and then they just put it back. That's cool.
Yeah. So I ordered my pauldron, and then I ordered the comma and the boots. So I went through someone in Starkiller for the pauldron, and then for the boots and the comma I went through Crow Props.
Nice.
So
I knew Rex was coming from you. From it just has.
I mean,
yeah. Come on.
it's bound to happen sooner or later.
That's good. That's awesome.
So
Now it's live action Rex.
Well, it's not live action Rex. It is the Sideshow Collectibles Rex.
Okay.
It is the realistic Rex.
That's
Not,
that's. I know. Legion called it something slightly different.
yeah, it's. I wouldn't do the live action Rex
No,
just
you're not.
because now that we've seen the CRLs for like the shinies and the 501st Troopers, I don't like a lot of that costume.
Okay.
But
Cool. Very cool. Is it all gonna be 3D printed?
no, so I am going to order the actual armor from Imperial Surplus
Nice.
here hopefully soon. Dad and I have a goal to have armored costumes by the end of the year.
What's your dad doing? Are we not?
He's torn between a couple things. TK is obviously at the front of his list. He also wants to do the Rogue One tank trooper,
Oh yeah.
the all white tank trooper.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said he might also do a clone or Jango Fett. So, because you
don't see many Django's around anymore. I saw a lot of like when I first started, a lot of guys did Django because they started Boba Fett and realized, as I think still to this day, Boba Fett's the most expensive one to do.
Yeah.
Just because of all the stuff you have to do. And Django was, so a lot of guys jumped on Django.
Mm-hmm.
There might, that would be cool too.
Yeah. I'm trying to push him more towards Django, just to, best dad in the galaxy joke.
Yeah.
So,
well, especially
and then, but then we just have to have pictures of you kneeling down holding his helmet.
that
could be the Happy Father's Day card.
Yep. But yeah, so I've got a list of everything I need for Rex. It's just going to be a matter of ordering it.
Well, Imperial Surplus is the way to go. I mean, that's like the top of the line. It's a shame you don't live in LA. You can go to their yard sales when they have like the bee pools and stuff.
Right.
So.
Well, maybe if we knew someone who lived near there.
Maybe we should reach out to
Jose.
We should reach out to no, I was thinking we should reach out to Imperial Surplus, see if we can get him on the show. Weir. Mr. Weir.
This show or Star Wars?
This show. Have him on this show.
Oh, okay.
He would fit this show more. I mean, I could get him on Star Wars Geek Girl first, see how it is.
Test the waters.
Yeah. Here, and there's Ice Cream Maker remake. Kevin showed, that's when we were talking about the thing. Well, that ice cream, the what's it called? The Cantono? That's actually like the second or third version, because you had the ice cream maker from Empire, which was basically an ice cream maker. Then they made that thing on a card in the Star Wars game, I think, in the 90s, and they did a couple little like digital things to it. And then when it came as the action figure, it was a computer core initially. He was supposed to be saving, and it had a Rebel logo or something on the bottom of the ice cream maker. And then they made it to what it is now. So,
well, that what they saw in The Mandalorian would be like the fourth version.
Yeah, something like that.
You can turn it and the sides open up.
Yeah, I got mine from Disney. I got mine when I went down to Disney. So, but if your dad did the tanker too, man, that opens up. Like, I'm thinking he could then do the tanker from Mandalorian. Because isn't the undersuit the same? It's just no,
because the tanker from the Mandalorian is all green.
Oh, okay.
So, and the tanker from Rogue One's white and black.
Yeah, I don't know. I have so many things rushing through my head that I want to do that I'm not even verbalizing, because I'm still doing pretty good at not starting anything new.
Any updates on the Vader belt buckle?
He said it shipped. That's all I know. And I'm, like if it was what was, it's going to be more the catalyst when I get it that gets me working.
Mm-hmm.
If it was like the last thing, I'd probably be slightly more annoyed. But but I was so happy trooping Sunday that I'm like, I'm itching. I just want nice weather.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hate like this Wrecker helmet I'm working on. I just wish I could, like, work on it every couple hours, but because it's so cold, like I can bring it in to a certain point, but I'm past letting my house smell like spray paint. I just,
Especially if you're gonna have me over as a guest. I mean, come on now.
yeah, I gotta get this place cleaned up. I gotta get like 3 Roombas just for when Ken comes.
Battling.
With gold trim on them.
Of course.
Well, while we're talking about our different costumes just that we are working on, one of our listeners, Todd, was asking what are some unique features of our costumes that we have already. So
You mean like we done personally? Like, is that like personalization unique things?
yeah, that's what at least that's what the what I'm gathering from his question.
Well, I'm gonna start because my TK is like way more personal crap on it than like I have my backs and my legs. Most guys Velcro them. Like I Velcroed my Sand Trooper. The backs of my legs, I put an elastic strap that just goes diagonal, and it just pulls them shut. But when you have to go upstairs or downstairs, it lets the leg open up, so it's like a little easier on your legs and stuff. And I like that. I actually like that better than my Sand Trooper because you can make the legs smaller. Where my Sand Trooper legs are bigger. It's also the type of armor it is, but they're bigger because I don't have that. And then I also did money clips. That's what hold my belt together so the Velcro doesn't have to do all the work. When I have to stretch that belt really tight, I have 2 metal money clips that slide behind the thermal detonator. It's besides sizing, that's my only 2 like really little quirks I have on my armor, I think.
And I would guess that because it's a 501st costume, especially a stormtrooper, there isn't a lot of wiggle room with the personalization, right?
No, not on the outside, but the inside, like my TK is multiple pieces, like top and bottom and stuff like that. Where my Sand Trooper, the whole body is all one piece, and it goes around you. I just put it together different to have less strapping. My Sand Trooper, I put a back brace belt on it, which makes a big difference in wearing it because it stands you up straight. Because sometimes in the TK armor, you're trying to position your helmet, and if you're not careful, I wind up hunching over to keep my helmet straight, and the Sand Trooper that back brace keeps you from doing that.
Okay.
So, and then I have like my legs are I always have them attached to the belt instead of the armor because the less that hangs on different pieces, like my legs hang on a belt on both of mine. So yeah, that's the that's the personalization for that.
How
Yeah.
about with yours, John?
Say again. I'm sorry.
How about some personalization with some of your costumes?
So I haven't really personalized anything.
Didn't you do something with your sleeves?
Technically, yes, but I didn't do it. I had someone else do it. I guess personalization. I don't really have a whole lot for. But personal stories I do. Like for my Supreme Leader Kylo, the tunic I bought from our CO David that we had on the show. So I've got that piece from him. Most everything else from Force Awakens Kylo is from Marty. So I've put pieces and parts together from different people that have like real meaning in my life. So
you carry a piece of them with you, is what you're saying?
yeah.
Cool.
Well, that's awesome because not everyone has that kind of like individual connection to the thing. Some of it might be, oh, I bought it from such and such vendor, or I printed it out with this file. But you've got that individual connection to the folks who help put those parts together.
Yeah.
How about you, Ken?
So with my Kennex, it's a custom Mando, so there's lots of personalization in it in terms of the choice of color. One of the other things that I did that's different than many Mando helmets, and I don't know if you can see. No, it's tucked down behind me. My rangefinder is actually on the left side instead of the right side.
I thought they just flipped all the pictures of you, like in some of the Boba Fett shots. I think in Jedi where the
They just
rangefinder's
switched
on the wrong
the
side.
negatives or whatever.
Yeah.
And part of that was on purpose. When I was looking to make my costume, I wanted to have something about it that I could be able to say, well, look for instead of just the color, look for the helmet with the rangefinder on the other side.
Now, if you would have made that costume post Mando, do you think you would have maybe foregone the rangefinder?
I don't know, because when I was thinking about having a first costume, I really liked the idea of the rangefinder, and that was before I wore it a lot because.
And had to carry it and not break your rangefinder off?
Or what happens is over time, because of the way that I put it together, I'm not very handy, and I don't always do things in the best ways. And so the screw that holds the rangefinder to the helmet, over time during a troop, it'll loosen slightly, and so it'll end up falling down partway through the day, or I'll have to take it off and bring it in the back and tighten that screw up, that Chicago screw or whatever. So in if after wearing it for a while, I might not do a rangefinder if I had another choice to do a custom Mando.
Speaking of rangefinders, you guys know I printed a realistic Rex helmet. It was the second helmet I ever printed.
Yeah, yeah.
Within 2 days of having that helmet done, the rangefinder snapped off. I think I may or may not have printed the strongest piece I have ever printed in my life. Ken, a lot of this might not make a whole lot of sense to you, but Mike, you will know what I'm talking about. I printed the rangefinder stem with 10 walls and 95% gyroid infill. I do not need because this is going to be a Legion costume.
Yeah.
And I do not want it to break.
Well, I just did. Okay, I forget how many walls, but I just did a motor mount for one of our robots at school with 40% infill, and that's amazingly strong. So 90, you'll be fine with that one, I think. I will
walls.
say, the rangefinders on Galactic Armory, on the Boba Fett one, it has a hook system.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually lift the rangefinder up, and then it swings down.
Yeah, that's kind of like on the Tampozla helmet that you printed for me.
Yeah.
And it's a simple little thing that you can't see from the outside,
Yep.
but it is so helpful. It is just, there's a hook on the rangefinder, and then in the ear cap, there's a little ledge.
Yeah.
So if you want the rangefinder to go down, you just lift it up and it comes down. If you want it to lock in place, you just hook that hook over the ledge inside the ear cap.
Yeah, I think Zoe's next Sabine, though, I'm putting a servo.
Mm.
So she can hit like this. That's my plan.
The nice thing about the Galactic Armory, the updated Galactic Armory files, I should say, is the ear cups for the rangefinder are magnetic.
Nice.
They've got holes for magnets. So
Yeah.
at the end of a troop, I can just pop that off, take the rangefinder off, and wrap it securely so it doesn't break
that's
the
good.
Transport.
Yeah.
A lot of
I don't have to
magnets.
worry about my rangefinder breaking itself because the rangefinder is aluminum.
So you get more worry about it bending.
See, like the first two Sabines I got from the place I won't say, they didn't have an option for a movable rangefinder.
Oh,
they're fixed, and which is fine, except from being in bags over time, they slowly started to bend.
I mean, on a character where the rangefinder doesn't go down like Rex,
yeah,
that's fine. But I mean, like a Mandalorian where you always see them using the rangefinder.
Well, again, there's a couple guys that make really good, not cheap, but not crazy price servos that you just mount it inside and it, so that's one of my goals.
I ain't even gotten to the place where I put fans in helmets, so I'm not even that fancy.
Listen, I've been wearing this TK forever, and I probably will put fans in Vader because everyone tells me to, but I hate fans in helmets. I hate the sound. I hate to have one more thing with a battery, and 9-volt batteries and moisture scare me. Like, I do not want a 9-volt battery exploding in my helmet, and then I have to explain why I have a giant battery burn across the back of my head, So,
end up looking like a wrecker.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps telling me I need to put fans in my helmet, but it takes about 30 seconds for me to thwart that conversation because all I have to do is take the helmet off and show them how small and form-fitted that helmet is. And then they see the hair
Yeah.
It's like I'm not wearing a balaclava because it's that costume is already 45 pounds of wool,
Right.
and I'm not getting my hair caught in a computer fan just because it's
Yeah.
gonna
Imagine that troop. Imagine that troop.
yeah it's just because it's gonna drop the temperature by a degree.
Well, see, when I played paintball all the time, guys would put fans on top of their masks, right? So I tried it, and that noise bothered me. So I just went with thermal lenses, and with my TK, you can barely see out of TK anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like you're usually looking out one eye anyway. So and once you get some airflow through it, like I said, the Vader thing, I'm going to try it without fans, but I wore Marty's with fans, and his weren't bad because the fans they're way up here. But I'm gonna try to. I just don't need one more thing. Like when the girls got rid of being Jawas, I was so happy that I didn't have to worry about having fresh batteries because I barely remember to have them for my amps and my voice box. So
Yeah, I think down the line I'm gonna try the the quote unquote air conditioned system.
all
where
down your
you've got-
back.
yeah, where you've got the tubes that go up your back and then out the collar.
Yeah. But
Because
see, some guys will also say like an ice vest makes a big difference.
I would melt an ice vest in a half hour.
But I found like in my TK, like when we even did the 4th of July parade, if as long as you drink a lot, I think what hurts a lot of people is as soon as they throw their costume on, they're worried they're going to have to pee. So they don't drink anything and then they overheat. I see that all the time where just hydrate before you get there and just hope no one asks you, because it's always fine until someone says, aren't you hot in there? And then you're like, oh, yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Or to put the pride away and go backstage and take the helmet off for a bit or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing is it like if I was going to battle and had to wear my TK for like 8 hours at a time, then yeah, I probably would put fans in it. But if I'm getting, I just walk to the back, pop my helmet off, cool down, get a drink, and then go right back out.
So you're not wearing your TK in battle? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
some people forget that. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I've been on since my last troop, but we did Night to Shine a couple weeks ago.
I don't think we did. Here, let's switch this to troop time.
Oops.
We'll go straight to. Do we have any other costume stuff to say before we go to? We'll just try to. We'll try to be professional. Well, let me see. Do I have a troop time?
We either are professional or not professional. There is no try.
Yeah.
There we go. It's troop time. Okay, let us go, John. Take us into troop time.
But yeah, so Dad and I did Night to Shine, the prom night for kids with disabilities.
Yeah.
And it was a good troop. It was much better than last year.
Mhm.
Where last year they were like, "Hey, you guys stay out here on the dance floor the entire time." Where this year they were like, "There's a lot of you guys, and we from last year we know you guys are really hot, so we're gonna limit this to like 45 minutes to an hour, and then we're gonna let you guys go." But they had this beautiful setup for the prom king and queen, and they had chairs, and they lined us up for a photo op, but nobody was in the hallway, so I just kind of looked around and like sat down in the chair, and then
The
when
throne, you mean? You sat down on the throne?
I sat in the throne. But yeah, so then when people started coming up, I was so hot, so like just tired and exhausted. So I was just standing there, just kind of gazing, arms crossed the whole time, until I just started seeing people around me start to shuffle, and then Dad had to be like, "Hey, we're done. Like we can go." But they posted like a highlight reel video.
Yeah.
And they posted this video, and you could just see me standing there just not even paying attention. And I took a screenshot of it and I sent it in our group chat. I said, and this was the exact moment where I couldn't see anything because I had so much sweat in my eyes and I was totally out of it. So it was it's funny that you could see that expression under the mask.
Well, it's the other thing I've seen guys in Kylo and Vader wear. They wear those worker sweatbands.
Yep.
And it makes, from what they tell me, that makes a big difference. They said just They said because with Vader they said because you have to wear the baklava for Vader to cover everything.
Yeah.
But they said just get one of those like ones that have a rubber band, and then they said grab one of those and it'll make a big difference. So.
Yeah, I wore a headband because I was just trying so many different things. I tried a like a wig cap,
Yeah.
didn't do anything for me. But the headband actually helped quite a bit, keeping my hair out of my face.
I will say I used to when I first started trooping. I used to wear the Breathe Right strips under my nose, on my nose.
Yeah,
and that helps you from overheating too. You'd be amazed at just
Really?
you get more air, like because you tend to like if you're not careful you not hyperventilate, but you like breathe less sometimes in masks. So when I was I trooped the Intrepid, and it was fun. Because that's a museum in New York City. So anyone listening of our 5 listeners, if you're anywhere near New York City and you get a chance to go to the Intrepid Air and Space Museum, because it's not just the aircraft carrier. Like they have a Blackbird on the flight
The
deck.
SR-1?
Yeah. They have one of those on the flight deck. They have one of the practice glider shuttles inside. They have a bunch of like warplanes and helicopters.
I feel like I need to go there not trooping just to
No,
go there.
I would recommend going there not trooping too. But anyway, we trooped that and we went up on the flight deck. It was freezing cold, but so like they were taking pictures of us, and anyone that's in a TK, it has 2 modes: super hot or super cold. Like it's never quite right. And I was freezing up there, and the wind was so hard. I had my mic on with my voice changer with the static burst. And a lot of times I tape it to my face, but I've been lazy lately, so I just put it on. The wind blew and I turned my head real quick. Sabine was freezing up there too. But the wind turned, I turned my head and the mic went up my nose. So I sounded like Darth Vader. I had to try to not breathe to get downstairs to the changing room to take off and take everything off to get the mic out. And to do that, I had to take it because I couldn't reach my hand to the mic. I had to take the mic off because I sounded like Darth Vader, and it was going, and then it would put the static burst. So I found that was my
squire.
Huh? We didn't have any squires. So or handlers. We've been light on a lot of the events I've done lately have been light on photographers and handlers. So I don't
see. It's the opposite for us. We've had a quite a boost in handlers.
Well, that's good.
Recently.
See, I don't know if they got scared away. I don't know if they get scared away. Like some garrisons have like these big long list of rules for people, and they're just like, yeah, I'm not going to bother. But because that's like I look at my troops from 6 years ago. Missy would be there, plus there'd be like 7 other spouses there, just shooting like you're shooting a movie. And then now, like, you're lucky if you get like 4, So that's Zoe. Here's Zoe's kicking in here. Where's it at?
Because usually a squire would help remove mics from nostrils.
Yeah, we didn't have many, and because when I went down, they were still poor Sabine was still out on the flight deck getting pictures, but I had to get down there. Zoe was actually watching Dan. So Zoe was that's like a full-time job watching Dan, because Marty was in Chewie and I was in TK. And so the only other person there that has some experience with protocol droids was Zoe. So Zoe because I wanted to troop a little bit with her, and she's like, now I'm watching Dan. But it was good she did, because she like just stayed by his side to make sure he was safe,
Yeah, you don't want to step off the edge of a flight deck on an aircraft carrier.
I don't think they took Dan up top, because they were saying all this stuff, and people were like, look, he can't, he can't walk that much. But yeah, that was my troop. I mean, that's my troop time, and I think after this one, I'm gonna just try to troop more. I'm reinvigorated to troop. So. How about you, Ken? You have any troops?
Now, the closest thing to trooping I had is when I got to go to that interview this weekend. I wasn't in costume, but oddly enough, there was There was a handful of folks from the 501st there, and
Were they
um,
in costume? Like?
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Well, they were wearing their racing
Racing
jerseys and
shirts.
things
Okay.
like that. So, but that was really cool. Billy D put on a nice show. He was funny, and if you get a chance, the Free Library of Philadelphia, their speaker series, they record every one of them. So if you want to watch that
Oh,
interview,
nice.
it's on the Free Library of Philadelphia. I think they even made it a podcast, but it's on the Free Library of Philadelphia's website.
Oh, nice.
So what I'll
Nice.
probably do, because there was this one moment where, have you ever gone to a movie and something happens on the screen and then somebody from the crowd says something?
Yeah,
Well, there
yeah,
was a moment where Billy D was talking, and I don't know where this came from, but
yeah.
I responded to him. So I wonder if it showed up on the
And
on
then
the.
after that, you heard people Ken getting drug
Like,
out.
oh, who's this
I'm
guy?
part of the rambling Star Wars fan.
Actually, oddly enough, I was wearing my Inflatable Falcon T-shirt.
Oh, nice, nice.
But I w- one of the one of the parts of the interview, not to spoil it if you guys want to watch it or not, um, he was explaining some parts of Empire Strikes Back, and in the midst of it, he stopped and said, "Well, I wasn't doing it. It was me portraying Lando Calrissian." And then he explains like. And I'm explaining this to all of you people. So he was making fun of himself, explaining Star Wars to the crowd, and he made a comment, something to the effect of, when Star Wars fans sometimes take things a little bit too seriously. So it was really a really fun interview, and I bought a ticket that came with a book that was autographed by him, so I have a new thing to add to the collection. And while I was in the audience, I learned that the audio version of his book, he narrates.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's kind of like the Anthony Daniels one. So I'm thinking
Yeah,
about getting that book just so I can listen to him read the book. Because one of the things I enjoy a lot about Billy D is his voice,
yeah. He has a
his
nice,
his
distinct
timbre, and the way he pronounces things. It's just fun to listen to. So I might actually get the book just so I can listen to him talk from time to time.
As much as my brief hatred for Lando between Empire Strikes Back and Jedi, I never hated Billy D. But as a kid, I really, really could not even stand to look at Lando.
That was one of the things he talked about. He
Yeah,
talked about how people didn't like him because of that. He even mentioned a 10-year-old kid who was giving him grief.
that was me. No, no. I mean, that stuck with me like as a kid because overall movies were safe. Like when we were kids, the good guys that started it most of the time made it to the end. Like overall. So yeah,
Yeah, so that's the closest to any troop time that I have. And
yeah.
I did put in, just so you guys know, I put in for several panels for Fan Expo for us.
Nice. We're just
And
gonna
one of
panel the
them
crap out
was
of them.
the lady got back to me because my entry was very similar to your entry, and
Oh
she
yeah, yeah.
she wanted to know if they were the same panel. I said, yeah, so we'll
Oh,
just
okay.
count it as one.
Well, hey, that's kind of weird though that we would put in the same panel.
Well, even had so I'll have to send you a screenshot of the email. Even some of the words that you use to describe yours were the words that I used to
That's funny.
describe mine.
That's funny.
So I'm like, we'll just count it as one.
Well, I hope we get a good panel, and I hope we find out sooner rather than later. Um, but I know Dave Castellano is putting in for the Droid Builders, right?
Yep.
So that gives us space. So we should have something to work with. And then it's it. This is my only complaint. It's weird that we have to try to get a table, but they have Joe cosplayer that really they don't know who they are can get a table and charge people for pictures. I'm like, come on, like I don't know. That's odd, I guess. But
Yeah, hopefully we know sooner rather than later because I need to know what I'm doing with my May 4th weekend.
yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I'm exactly the same way. Like now, if Dave gets a table, I'll be there regardless if we get a panel. I made that commitment to Dave.
Yep.
But I want to do a good panel. I thought we did a pretty good job last time. People seemed to like it. So
So do you want to give you a preview of the three proposals that I put in?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So one of them was about family and positivity, and that was the one that blended with the one that you submitted. The second one was around Star Wars bringing people together. You know how Star Wars inspires people to come together, and then the third one was about being inspired to make things thanks to Star Wars. And so I mentioned costuming, props, and like custom art that all of us have been involved in some shape or form. So those are the three general proposals that I put out there. So we'll see which ones they pick.
Yeah. I just hope. I hope they reach out to us. I got a different vibe from the woman than I did last year. After I
I
got
think it
the
was a different person.
No, it's the well, it's the same person. I got this email thanking me for my panel, and I thanked her, and it was like cordial. And then so I don't know what she knew then, and now she's had a year of doing cons, and she's like jaded, and she's like, "Ah, I hate all these
These
people."
people.
Yeah, So I don't know. I just I don't as someone who has to fill the day with stuff for people to do every day. I'm surprised they're not like, wait a minute, we have people volunteer, sign them up. Here's our schedule. You know, I mean,
Although then they also have to think about all the, do we have enough AV people and all of that kind of
yeah, but
logistical stuff?
it's only you need one per like if they have three rooms, right? They had two panel rooms and one upstairs.
I thought didn't they have? I thought they had more panel rooms than that. I could
No,
be
some
wrong.
of them were like role playing rooms
Ah,
and
okay.
but as panels go, I'm pretty sure they had two panel rooms except for the real big panel,
Okay.
But I'm saying for the schmucks like us,
Yeah.
they had two rooms downstairs and on the stage. So you need three crews. That's all you need,
Yeah.
you know.
That's true.
I mean, and really you just need someone to turn the board on. Like if you watch those guys, they literally just plug it in. They're not like mixing the next, hip hop album or anything on
Yeah.
that mixing board. So um yeah, so that's good. I mean, again, I'm hoping once Dave finds out if he has a table, we can figure displays. We have enough stuff between us all, and we can figure it out and just get some stuff. I'm just like John. I just want it sooner rather than later because once Dave knows has a table, I'm there. But if we have a panel, it's going to change what we do.
Yeah, I got to kick my droid production up a notch because I want to get my pit droid made by then. And if only I could figure out a place where I could get a droid scomp, and then I could have that as a thing on my belt.
I
Wait a
need
minute,
to
what?
I need to re-dig up that file.
What is it now? Or no, wait, we got okay. So before we move on, we did get someone. I don't know. Is this someone we know? Is this a new chat person?
Perhaps Bronwyn.
Brown. Yeah, I don't know. But then they ask if we watched the Bad Batch, which we did.
Do
We
you
probably
want?
won't recap it. We'll talk a little bit. There will be spoilers by accident, but we're not gonna.
Well, I
And
think we could. I think we could do a spoiler-free recap. That'd be
yeah.
pretty safe.
Well,
Bueno. Muy bueno.
Me gusta mucho.
so my here's my overview of episode 1, spoiler free, kind of. And Zoe will probably correct me if I'm wrong. It felt like it was paying homage to a whole bunch of something, and I didn't quite know what it was, if that makes sense. Like either movie making techniques or storytelling techniques. Like just with the machine, you had that clock, moving. You had the water dripping. Like it just seems like it had a whole bunch of homages to things that I thought was really cool.
Well, I think that's one of the fun parts about the animated shows is you're able to call attention to different um, either movie styles or visual styles, which aren't necessarily one and the same. Like the second episode, I thought that was more along the lines in some ways of like a horror movie.
John, did you turn off again by accident or on purpose?
No, Ken's request killed my computer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
The droid
Windows
scomp?
Explorer. Yeah, I was trying to find that file, and as soon as I opened File Explorer, it was just like, internet? No.
I just thought John was just like, I don't want them spoiling this, and he stormed
Yeah,
off.
fingers in his ears. La 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 la.
Yeah, no, Ken, like the horror genre, and I don't know. I just this. I'm glad we saw 3, though it means 3 less. You know.
Yeah, and the other thing I also really really like about this season, and I think I've mentioned it before, was how they're choosing to show the episodes. So instead of giving us the whole season at once or single episodes only, they're blocking some together, giving
Hmm.
us single episodes, blocking some together, then giving us single episodes.
Yeah.
And I think this really these 3 episodes specifically set the stage that this is going to be heavy stuff. This is going to be rich with references to all different things. I mean, Zoe mentioned that some of the creatures in these episodes are similar to creatures that you may have seen in or thought of you saw in the High Republic. So there's that part of it. And the I think one of the stories I heard before the season started was that this season is going to branch all of the other things together. So whether we're talking about the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy, or even the sequel trilogy, there will be pieces in this season that connects all of those parts, which I think is absolutely wonderful because it's not your traditional way of this kind of franchise show.
Yeah. 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 I mean just seeing, like, I like the pacing of it. Like, I know some people say, too slow or there wasn't enough action, but like it just built that, like, that time, and then a time lapse, like the way it's similar to how John Favreau told you that Mandalorians never took their helmets off because of what's his name, the prisoner, asking him, you know what I mean, in the car, like, so instead of saying, look, she's been like here, it just shows her scratching on the thing, and then it cuts away and come back, she has longer hair, you know what I mean, and it's just like it lets you it it lets you think the story yourself, like, oh yeah, it lets you discover that. um and I will say that older sister of hers, I really don't like her. Like,
Ebery.
I don't like her. I think she's like even worse than Hemlock in a
So it's
way.
interesting that you mentioned her because I can't remember if it was the first episode or the second episode, because they were very similar in that in the Mount Tannis
Yeah.
bunker base or whatever. And there was a couple scenes where they're walking through the hallway and the sister is with Omega, and I could have sworn that there were other people in the hallway that looked like the
Yeah. Oh yeah.
sister.
Yeah. Zoe doesn't. This is the. I take. Here's why I think she's worse than Hemlock. Is because when she give the toy back, that was a fake way to make her trust her. That's my. That was to do to a child was worse than just keeping it away from her.
Well, and also it kind of goes against
Yeah.
what you just said. I can't have it, and now all of a sudden I can have it. Like,
Right. So she's building this fake trust that she is eventually going to betray. That's my 2 cents. I know Zoe disagrees, and Zoe's
She's also
probably right.
using her trustworthiness against her. Like
Yep.
her willingness to trust people is what I should say.
Yep.
Because like Crosshair said, not every clone is your ally.
Yep.
So
Yeah, Crosshair had some heat, man. He could get a really good motivational quote book going with some of his lines from this.
so it's funny that you say that because one of the ideas I have for later in the year. So lately I've been doing the deep thoughts in Star Wars.
Yes.
One of the ideas I had for later in the year is deep thoughts from Star Wars. And so it would be taking quotes from the show,
Yeah.
matching them up with with either images of them saying that thing or of the character who said that thing.
Nice.
And Crosshair is one of those ones where you wouldn't necessarily pick him to be the one who shares knowledge that way, and he's done it several times in this season already in 3 episodes, and even in the last season, I thought.
Yeah. Well, and he's that's good. Yeah, so that's our take on. I mean, they left us at a good place. I mean, it's. I mean, I knew you can tell when Dave's getting ready to end it because you're just like, oh, I just need a little more, and all of a sudden those stupid credits come
Screen
up.
of
And you're like, ah.
Yep, that was one of my friends had texted me and they were like, "Oh, hey, what'd you think?" And I was like, "I am so mad because it ended right when I didn't want it to."
Yep. But that's a good story. I mean, that's I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking. I will say I like Wrecker's season 1 helmet better right at the moment. Like I just the paint scheme. Like I like it that they're beat up and they're trying to. It looks like they're trying to unweather them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Dave's not writing it. Okay, look. So he's always like, Zoe's our fact checker. Okay, but Dave's we're just listen.
He's the chief creative officer, so
we're
he's
fake
involved
fans.
somehow.
We're fake fans. We're just gonna say Dave wrote it.
So I didn't watch the credits for these episodes, which I probably should have. And hopefully this isn't a spoiler for anyone, but was Daniel Logan, was his
All the young
voice?
clones? I don't know. Zoe was Daniel Logan listed in the clones. Zoe's doing mobile research for us.
You said we needed a producer. It would only be fair if you produce her show, she produces ours.
Well, yeah, I don't put this much on. Her and Lizzie do the heavy lifting. But if you want to hear a bit more about the High Republic, Zoe had the Heart of the High Republic on her next to last episode.
Is that 3 tonight? 3
plugs? I'm getting better. I'm getting better at my plugs. No, you know what plug we haven't heard?
Who haven't we heard? You always have to guard your heart with Star Wars. You never know when they're going to rip it out.
Well, and listen, I am way more wrong many times than I am right. So don't ever change your ideas on anything,
Oh, yeah, because if they listened to us, we would have had them convinced that Andor's mom was going to survive.
Yeah.
She turned into a brick.
Yeah. And all we got was a 2-story hologram of her.
But yeah, Zoe said she didn't check for Daniel Logan. Now we'll have to see if that was.
I'm fairly confident that I saw something today that he was the cadets.
That was a very good side story. Like that was like because I never thought about that with the abrupt ending of the Clone Wars. Like, oh, what did they do with all the little babies and
I
would not even just the babies, but in the last season they were bringing the clones out of Camino, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I never thought about that because in Attack of the Clones you have all these little Daniel Logans like doing their homework with their little robot helmets on and stuff. So yeah, that's just good storytelling, and I just liked it that the Empire is working on all this weird stuff, like they're working on these like creepy hand
biological weapons,
whatever they are. Would we hopefully see a Borgullet baby, and
yeah, because we haven't seen Borgullet since Scare. No, it was Jedha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then like I was like those dog looking things, and I guess that vine is that vine from isn't there something from High Republic from that?
Well, that's what
is that what it is?
Gear, but it wasn't. Okay. At least they weren't called that in the show.
Yeah,
they were called something else.
Because I've read a few High Republic, and then most of my knowledge comes from Zoe and Sal Perales. So, um,
So I'm going to ask you guys a question that you may or may not have the answer to. But why does it seem like there are so many creatures with tentacles?
because they're creepy. It's like spiders. There, Zoe said Daniel Logan did one of the clones, and someone else did the other ones.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, okay, cool. Well, Zoe, next time you see Daniel Logan and he wants a picture in your costume as pink, you have to ask him how he did. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like Star Wars hits those notes, like if you like the vines and the like. When I was a kid, we were all afraid of quicksand. Like every Tarzan movie, and you just thought quicksand was everywhere. Like someone died in every Tarzan movie from quicksand at least once, and that was, and so like the vines are like that hidden, almost like it's almost like an homage to The Thing. If you think about it, the movie The Thing, it had all those like tentacles that kind of like burst out and then infected everybody. It gives that almost that like that vibe, that mindless, like something that can come from everywhere, but you don't know where to actually, like you cut it and it keeps coming back. So, and Kevin, thanks Zoe. Zoe's going to take over our show next week. We won't be here. It'll just be Zoe doing the show. We'll
she'll commandeer the ship.
It'll be the Inflatable Falcon 2. So
just hotwire it.
Yeah. Well, would you hotwire it? I guess you just unplug it and it would just deflate and crush us all with 1,000-pound inflatable. So
she'll be on the deflated Falcon.
Yes, the deflated Falcon. So let's move to. We've talked some of that. So let's talk about our Inflatable Falcon experience. Because we've let that part of our show die a little bit. Like we had a high point when we had someone from Magic Jump here, and I feel like we've let down the air that supports our Inflatable Falcon. So I ask, just as a joke in a chat that we have with Jose, hey, could we get an Inflatable Falcon for Fan Expo? And he replied, well, I'll see what I can do talking to vendors. Now, I don't think that's going to get us one, but I'm like, I was very pleased that he didn't just like block us and never talk to us again. Because I said to him I'd like to have him on the show again for his Star Wars knowledge too. So we are still actively trying to raise money for an Inflatable Falcon.
Can you tell everyone how much we've raised so far?
I think now, if I do the math and I include the $5 I put in, we've raised $5.
All right.
I didn't even know you put $5 in.
I put $5 in to see what happens, like on the back end. So I was like, I'm just gonna put $5 in to see what happens. And apparently, you just spend $5 and no one else follows along.
I didn't even know. I got to do a better job of tracking that.
Yeah, I was wondering. See, I thought I had. No, I don't have on this. I thought I had our Inflatable Falcon in commercial, but I don't. I have to load that up for next. But if you go to our, if you just go on GoFundMe and look up Inflatable Falcon, you will find our touching story about raising money for the Inflatable Falcon. It's probably just really fun to read. Second only to, what's the one where you can write petitions? Yeah, have you ever read the petition where someone wanted to
change.org?
Change.org. Have you ever read the Change.org where they wanted to get rid of one of the last two movies?
They wanted to get rid of all of the last movies.
No, but there was one they wrote for whatever. So I took that one and rewrote it to get rid of Kanan Jarrus's short haircut. But I used their same wording.
Someone had an extra 10 minutes in their life.
Hey, you know what? If I would have written that well when I was in school, I could have probably been like a journalist or something.
You could have been a contender.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great note to end the show on. Is Kanan Jarrus bad haircut?
Oh yeah, no, here, hang on. Let me just I gotta show it to you. I'm gonna show you this petition. And I think with your gravitas, Ken, you should probably even read it to us. Because I think, let me see if it shows up. Can you see it?
No,
Let me see.
and it could be because I wasn't wearing my glasses.
Here, hang on. I'll do it this way. I'm going to put it in the chat. Maybe. There you go. So all I did was I mainly just mimicked the one.
Only part of it came in.
It should start with Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, but it ends with official canon and.
Oh, official canon. Oh, I don't know. Here, Star Wars Rebels has long been a story of two things: the Rebels and Kanan's cool hair. After nearly 4 seasons, where we could follow the adventures of that great hair, the Walt Disney Company decided to strike all of that from the official canon and wipe it. Wait a minute. Adventures. Walt Disney. Hang on. I'm trying to read. And after nearly 4 seasons, where we would follow the adventures of the great hair, the Walt Disney Company, decided to strike all of that from the official canon and wipe out 4 seasons of ponytail cool. We are excited to see the end. We were excited to see the end of season 4 and see how our heroes' lives turned only since, but especially Kanan's hair. We saw when he lost his sight, we saw less than a minute of no ponytail the next season 2. At the end of season 4 trailer was a travesty. It has completely destroyed the legacy of Kanan's hair and those who want to costume as him. It destroyed the very reasons for us as Star Wars Rebel, us as fans like Star Wars Rebels. This can be fixed. Just as you wiped out 4 seasons of hair, we ask you to wipe one more, his haircut. Remove it from canon, push back to the end of season 4 and remake it the last part of the season properly and redeem his hair, legacy, integrity, and cool factor. We stuck by you when you did things that hurt us before, so we ask you now, please don't let this haircut stand. Don't do this to us. Don't take something so many of us loved so much and destroy it. Let's keep our hero's hair. There we go. That's it.
Didn't he have that haircut for less than an episode?
Yeah. But I got 83 signatures on that sucker.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
If only we could get 83 people to donate to the.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like 83 people did that, but they wouldn't give me $5 for, Yeah, there it is right there.
There we go.
So
We'd live in a wild world.
yeah. So, well, just be glad I didn't show you guys this the first episode, or our podcast would be called Kanan's Hair.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Well, only one of us can claim to have Kanan's hair these days.
That's true. That's true.
And it ain't.
No, not me either. So
I do not have that much hair. Kanan's got a little more hair than I do, and a little more
Not
facial
anymore.
hair.
not anymore. It's
Not
all
anymore.
He's
blown
the
up
hottest
anyway.
member of the Ghost Crew.
Yeah. So, but with that, if you can, let's just one more time remind people where you can find you, Ken.
You can find me on dadjokes.com. You can find me on the Inflatable Falcon. And you can find me haunting your dreams.
That was the worst kind of joke because it was one that it takes you a second to know what you're really getting at. Oh my god, Ken, that was awful.
That's what I call a boomerang. It goes
You
over
can
your
find me
head.
on the Beskar Bucket podcast. Beskar Bucket podcast on Instagram. John Scalise on TikTok. Mike, where can we find you?
Here, Star Wars or Hinton Star Wars Family on Instagram and TikTok. Michael Hinton on Facebook, YouTube. Look for Zoe's podcast, Star Wars Geek Girl. Her and I did a 2-part series on Overwatch. I was very informed. Hopefully, it informed people that play over or want to play Overwatch. And that's it. I mean, if you, besides that, we'll be here every Wednesday talking about something.
When are we going to do our comedy sketch routine?
We still have to do comedy. We still have to do a comedy episode. Oh, and so John, you've been working. We forgot about the Tauntauns. The golden Tauntauns are coming soon, very soon. We're going to be like scrambling like idiots here. But John has been making very good slides. So we're going to, in the next, I don't know, couple days, I guess, we'll release like what our categories are for the golden Tauntauns for the award show. We'll try to get some guest people, but you know how we do it. We'll, but anyone listening, if you have award show experience and you want to be a presenter, you can please plead your case to one of us. Send it in a message, email, carrier, pigeon, however you want to get a hold of us. I think you can even leave messages on our podcast, can't you? Anchor. I don't know. Anchor just changed a whole bunch of crap.
On Spotify, you can leave a voice message.
Yes, or Spotify just changed a bunch of crap, so it changed how you put podcasts in. So I got to learn that. Thanks Spotify for making me learn something new again. But yeah, so but get a hold of us. We'll do. What was the date of the
March 7th.
March 7th?
6th.
6th. Okay, I have March 6th written. There's March 6th with nothing else written up. This is how my notes are. It's a scrap of paper that says March 6th. So, either I have some medical procedure planned that day or we're having our award show. So,
Going in, I got to get a golden Tauntaun.
Yeah, so golden Tauntaun. And check us out on all our social medias. Listen to our back things. If you see something you want us to talk about, please, if you're anything Star Wars related, we didn't have anything else. Ken didn't do any of his favorite author plugs that I'm not going to say because I'll make sure Ken says it. His so. All right, thanks for.
I don't have to do a plug because I just have it behind me at all times.
Right.
Now.
Which book is it now, Ken?
So if you're looking for a fun read, you should read Star Wars 100 Objects, written by Kristen Baver.
Yes.
It's one of her...
Right, clip that, post that on TikTok.
Yes, there you go. Put it on.
Everyone should read that book.
Yeah. Well, it is a good book. I mean, I will agree with that. It's an easy read. Like, you don't have to, it's...
And there's pictures.
Are there pictures?
There's tons of pictures.
Damn it.
It's a good... Do they call them coffee table books?
I don't know if that would be a coffee table book. I think it's a little bit small to be a coffee table book.
Yeah, I guess they have to be big. But I mean, do people even have coffee tables anymore?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. We had coffee tables as a kid, and it just meant you got yelled at a lot because you're going to put rings on the table. So, and then you had to get a coaster. Now, I married a woman who, she knows the power of coasters, and Zoe's the same way. But me and Safi were not coaster people. So, the coasters that's the pile next to your glass that's ruining the furniture. All right, we're out.
I used to put my faith in starships, but then my Falcon's hyperdrive just slipped. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my caution to the wind. I had no reason to be carefree. No, until I took a trip to the treetop side of town. Yeah. You know I heard that wicked rhythm. Hey, I had no choice but to get down, dance. Woo! There's nothing left for me to do but dance. All these bad times I'm going through, just dance. Got cash, she get my heels tonight, baby.
No disrespect to my man here, but you ready for the real deal superstar?
nothing new. Stuck in this jungle, dark water, I need a cure to make me through. Hey, dance, yeah. There's nothing left for me to do but dance. All these bad times I'm going through, just dance, yeah. Got cash in my heels tonight, baby. You know I got cash in my heels. Hey, Chewie, let the music play. I'm gonna live this party life. Hey, Chewie, throw my cares away. I'm gonna live this party life. Hey, Chewie, let the music play. I'm gonna live this party life. Hey, Chewie, throw my cares away. I'm gonna live this party life. Dance. You know this one is dance. So let's get shaky. Dance. Gonna dance my blues away tonight. Dance. Dance. So let's get shaky.
Nice. Very nice. Cloud City could use someone like you.